Welcome to another episode of Conversations with Cookie B. I am Cookie B, and it is 4:59. Now, normally we start at 5 o'clock, but come on a little early to give you time to get situated, get your drink, so that we can start this conversation off right, especially coming up for the weekend. Now, I'm shuffling the cards. I do not have on a statement shirt today. I have to make a run afterwards, and then I didn't feel like putting on one because I got to tell y'all what happened today. What happened today? What a day. What a day. Peace and blessings manifest with every lesson learned. Man, it's been a day. This heat here in Las Vegas will get you. Now, I decided to go outside today. And when I went outside today, went to a pool party. And we'll talk about that. So it is officially 5 o'clock. So let's get this party started, y'all. Y'all ready? Okay. Hey there, Conversations with Cookie B. We can talk about anything. Conversations with Cookie B. We'll talk about everything, my baby. Ooh, yeah, everything. Hey there. Welcome to another episode of Conversations with Cookie B. As you know, I am Cookie B, and it's 5 o'clock. Hey there, Kelly. Hey, D-Lo. We about to get this conversation started. Now, you know, usually I start off with something positive. I do want to let you know, no statement shirt today, and I'm gonna tell you why in a minute. Cause this Las Vegas heat will get you. All right. So let's pick a card. I'm gonna go with this one, and let's see what this one says. This one says, act, charge forward. When we combine action with unwavering faith, the power of grace will meet all of your needs. I will repeat. Put that back over there. The card today, act. Charge forward. When we combine action with unwavering faith, the power and grace will meet each and every one of your needs. That's the positive card for the day. Y'all come on in. Welcome to another episode of Conversations with Cookie B. Now, let me tell y'all, I got to first tell you about the weekend. No shirt today because I have to, I'm going out after the broadcast, so I'm going to do a little something, you know, got to go pick up some more CMOS. As well as this past weekend, I've had a lot of advice given to me. Now, mind you, I am one that can take constructive criticism. You know, everybody has an opinion, you know, just like an asshole. So it doesn't bother me, but I'm intrigued by what other people think. I really am. So this past weekend, I had a dear brother advise me of I probably need to rearrange my position at my favorite place I like to smoke, my favorite hole in the wall. And he was just like, yeah, because you sit in the back of the room. And I said, well, I like sitting in the back of the room because I can see everything, you know, and, you know, nobody may not see me or something like that. And I said, well, if they come in get a cigar, because I sit kind of by the humidor, they'll see me. But he was saying I thank him with all sisterly love because, you know, I really have people looking out for my best interests, especially when it comes to finding my soulmate, a gentleman of choice. I do want to let you know this weekend was much of a blur to me because I woke up Friday thinking it was Saturday all day. It just felt off to me. And I was so very sluggish and tired. I didn't know what was going on. I went out to a party. One of the little steppers said one of the people, there was a birthday, their anniversary. as well as retirement parties. So I was very, very excited to go wish them well for their party. I did have to, leave because started feeling a little off with the energy. So I decided to, hey, Calvin, I decided to remove myself from the situation. So I decided to leave and I left and, had a good time at my next spot. I do want to let you guys know this has been a day today. I just went to a pool party. One of my good friends, Artisha, she owns 208 Lymphatics. She was having a 7-year apart. Hey there, Trina, a 7-year-old pool party for her son, Avery, who turned 7 today. So I decided I'm taking my grandson with me. So I said, come on, boy, we're going to go. We're going to go. But I also had to bring his mama and stuff because I just, just didn't want to do that. So anywho, went to the pool party. Now, mind you, we are in monsoon season now. So with monsoon season, meaning that there can be all of a sudden, storms, and then nothing. Hey, Trina. Hey, Jay. So we're in monsoon season now. So it may rain and then all of a sudden it just disappears. I know it's been very hot, but I can tell you, waiting in that 2 feet water, as well as the heat, no direct sun because I will break out in hives. So I was out there for a little while, enjoying myself, playing with my grandson, and we really had a good time. So happy birthday, Avery. So glad. I do want to also let you guys know that today, birthdays, we're going to talk about today in Black history. I'm not drinking right now because I'm going out. So I'm not going to drink before I go out and drive. But today in Black history on July 14th, significant milestones. 1953, George Washington Carver National Monument was dedicated in Diamond, Missouri, becoming the first national park site honoring an African American. 1822, Denmark Vesey, a formerly enslaved abolitionist, planned one of the largest, most sophisticated slave rebellions in American history, slated to take place in Charleston, South Carolina. The plot was leaked before it could happen, but it remains one of the most prominent symbols of resistance. Now, I'm going to talk about this too, because I'm really becoming awakened by things that are happening in South Carolina and North Carolina and Mississippi. But I digress. We're going to talk about it. Hey, Piggy Boo. 1943, renowned tennis icon Arthur Ashe was born in Richmond, Virginia. Ashe broke, racial barriers, becoming the first Black man to win a singles title at Wimbledon and the U.S. Open and the Australian Open. In 1805, Bill Richard Wiley considered the first African American to gain international fame as a professional boxer. Now, today's Black birthdays, we have Tamika Teeny Harris. That's T.I.'s wife, I believe. Yeah. She was born in 1975. No, that ain't right. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That is right. She was the R&B singer, Grammy Award winner, songwriter, and co-songwriter for TLC's No Scrubs. She was also a famous TV personality, y'all, as well as from the group Escape. Darrell Revis, born in 1985, he is a legendary football cornerback, and he's considered one of the greatest defensive players in NFL history. And they nicknamed him Revis Island, or Revis Island, however you want to say it, during his time where he was with the New York Jets. Stan Shaw, born in 1952, he is a seasoned film and stage actor, recognizable for his roles in Harlem Nights and Roots: The Next Generation. And Laurieann Gibson, born in 1969, she's this acclaimed Canadian director, choreographer, and TV personality, and known for her iconic work with musical superstars like Lady Gaga, Michael Jackson, and Beyonce. Hey, Godiva. And that is this today in Black birthdays as well as Black history. I also want to give a shout out to my girl, Cherie Jewelry. As you can see, Chire underscore jewelry on Instagram. I got another piece from her. Blah, 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 blah. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, y'all. Now I hope y'all had a wonderful weekend. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. It was, another weekend for me. No cakes that I sold this weekend. This was my off week. I do want to let you guys know before I go, and I will mention this again. Thursday, there probably will be no show because I will be going out of town, taking a road trip with one of my road dogs to Arizona. So there may be some car conversation. We'll see. We'll see. Now, I was waiting to see if one of my good friends was going to chime in today because, as you know, Sebastian is another one of our people here on the show who is dating someone now. And he looks very, very happy. Let me say that. So I know she advised me when I saw her. She said, "Oh, I'm not coming on your show, Cookie B." I said, "Well, you don't have to come on my show. That's quite all right." But Sebastian was willing to say, he'll talk about it. Dating over 60. We had talked about empty nesters for the last, I want to say 2 weeks because back to school time is coming, and a lot of us have just in May gotten some of our grandchildren out of the household, graduated from college, graduated from high school, graduated from middle school. So we want to start early with making those connections for empty nesters. We talked about that. So y'all get ready. Y'all get ready. Now, I know that I had brought this up, and our dear friend Wisdom Will brought it up also because love languages. I kind of started looking it over again because I wanted to see if anything has changed, because we know that we talked about this. As you get older, needs change and desires change and things like that. So when you become an empty nester or, leave your household or just reminiscing the spark, I am grateful for all of your input. So I say that to say thank you guys for your comments. But Calvin, I know you're on here, and he will be tying the knot, getting married this coming Saturday, July 18th. So please in the chat, go ahead and send your congratulations or whatever you want to say to him, condolences. I'm just joking about that. But we know that we have witnessed his story. He has met his bride, and this weekend he was showing me they were having another date night. They were at La Casa Lounge, which is another cigar lounge, listening to Mark Ashton. And it was just amazing to see the videos. And I can see the way he was looking at her and the way she was looking at him. And I said, you know what? I did that shit. I'm going to take credit for that. I'm going to take credit for that because I'm so very, 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 very happy that, he found love. We pray that it all goes for years and years and years because, love conquers all. It does. Now, let's get this conversation started. So with everything, because I had a different topic in mind, but I also received a video and then I know it was AI, but I received a video because there was a couple having a conversation, and this was sent to me by my good friend Calvin. And the conversation that this couple on this video were having was, what if your family don't like me? What would you do? Now, he was saying there was really no choice at all about the family not liking him. And she gave some other scenarios about if they're together, the protecting and providing is what popped up in my head. But I want to ask you guys, let me get my paper together. I want to ask you guys, when you got married or when you started dating your significant other, maybe the one you have now, or maybe someone you dated in the past, what was your family's reaction? Especially now, we as mothers who see our daughters dating certain men, or you see your son mothers with a certain type of woman, or does that female motherly intuition kick in when you just look and say, he ain't gonna be with her too much longer. He ain't gonna, we always have our opinion about that. So I have to ask you guys, and you can put it in the chat. I want to know your opinion about when family members, meet your significant other, when they, family reunions. Things are rolling in my head because I'm thinking of the video. When the family reunion comes around and you decide to, and we've seen this joke all the time, when you decide to bring somebody and it just happened not to be the same somebody from last year. We know that we are in this season now where it is family reunion time. So put it in the chat. I want to know. We talked about empty nesting. We talked about all that. But now, what if your family members don't like him or her? What do you do? How do you react? Especially now, and I'm piggybacking off of that too, because Calvin's getting married, but what if, his parents were like, or her parents saying, we don't approve of this, or maybe they do approve. We don't know. But I want to know your opinion. Kelly says, my mother was very excited when she met Jay. She did not like what I bring up at home previously. She didn't like it. Oh, but she likes Jay, huh? Well, that's good. And look what happened 32 years later. I want to know your feelings about your relatives, because when you are marrying someone, you are, and they say, marrying their family. They become a part of the family. And when you have a wedding, does your father really want to walk you down the aisle? Is the mother really sitting there going, he finna marry this hussy? Or are they ecstatic? Are they saying, yeah, I love this. I love this. They may be saying, oh, I was so excited. I was just waiting on y'all to meet. I'm so glad. Hey, Toya, I'm just wondering, when you brought home that special someone, if your parents reacted, or how did they react? Or how did your children react when you finally introduced the one? Let me say that. I'll say it just like that. When you finally decided, yeah, it's time for you to meet my mama, or it's time for you to meet my daddy, or it's time for you to meet my children. How did that go? Kelly says, I meant brought home previously. Oh, no worries. She didn't like who you brought home previously, but she knew she liked Jay. Now, they say us women, we have that sort of intuition where we know, like, regardless, of what goes on, we know. Now, I can honestly say my mom, she wasn't particularly fond of my daughter's biological father. Now, when I say that, she don't care. She really don't. But she'll let you make your decision. But in the end, she was like, oh, I ain't going to say nothing to you, because she doesn't want to unduly influence my decision, because, of course, I'm supposed to be growing up and making these grown-up decisions. But my daughter's biological father, she didn't have anything. She was, okay. And then there was an 11-year age gap with me and him. So he and I were, not gonna say I don't like him either. Lord have mercy. He and I were 11 years apart. So, she just said, oh, you got an older man. And then, when I finally, got pregnant, she not finally, but when I got pregnant, she said, that's what you get for messing with an older man. And then some of the things, he did, cause he was domestic. We had some domestic issues where he put his hands on me, and I told you guys about that before. And that was cause it was a jealous rage he went through. And I was just like, dude, but my mom was more or less like, she was, relieved and happy. I must say that, relieved and happy. So going on in the chat, like I said, Kanai says she didn't like she calls him the sperm donor. She didn't like him either. Dolores says, my father was totally against my ex to the point of not wanting to walk you down the aisle. Now that's deep, D-Lo, because and it had to be something, because men know men, women know women, and some women know men. And when we looking at certain things, especially when it comes to our loins, when we're saying, you finna marry my baby. So I can understand, he was against it so far that he didn't want to walk you down the aisle, but he did it for his baby anyway. And that can be, yeah, that can be something else too, because you don't know who all gonna say something, who won't say something. And some people won't say nothing. My mother never really said nothing. Godiva says, my people did not care for my ex. My family let it be known they didn't care for him. I talked with my family to find out what was going on. They agreed to not beat his ass, but they didn't sugarcoat a damn thing. They loved me more than they couldn't stand his ass. So they were cool until he and I weren't cool. So they were cordial. They didn't like him or whatever, but yeah, they didn't care for him. But hey, we're going to respect you. We're not going to disrespect them until y'all wasn't together no more. So, some families won't say anything. They be like, hey, you got to learn for yourself or anything like that. Now, Piggy Boo says, my father and mother, rest in peace, yes, received my hubby and sisters too. They received your significant other well, your husband well, and that's good. Sometimes you meet the right one, sometimes you don't. Godiva says, and no, there was no walking down the aisle. They didn't show up to the courthouse. So your first ex, Godiva, you're just saying that y'all just showed up at the court. Y'all just didn't show up at the courthouse. So you didn't have a wedding. So he didn't have to walk you down the aisle. Oh my gosh. But I know the husband that you have now compliments you so very well. So I'm not going to say too much about that, but I love y'all. Godiva, how many more cookies you got left? That's what I want to know. How many cookies you got left? Yes. I want to ask you that. Now, Calvin, I know that, your family has to do a lot of dynamic because, yeah, you're bringing two people together that are now going to be together forever. Ain't that something? That can be challenging, especially when you have older children, or like we're in this season of our lives. Excuse me, we're in this season of our lives where it is what it is. It is what it is. Godiva, Dolores says, yes, I later understood why. My ex did not treat me the way my father did. It was discussed after my father died. Oh my gosh. Had we had that discussion, things might be a little different. Well, hindsight is 2020. So, that could be right. That could be right. They don't say nothing. They just be like, she got to learn for herself. I would hopefully somebody tell me before I make that big jump. Godiva says, hell no. But Anthony, they love him. Yes, he is lovable. And I ain't got none left. Oh, you ain't got no cookies left? Lord have mercy. That is hilarious. So when it comes to today's conversation with Cookie B, we talked about empty nesting and all that stuff. But because we have some nuptials that are going to happen this coming up weekend, and he sent me a video regarding, what happens when your mother doesn't like me and vice versa. What happens when your father doesn't like me, but yet we still want to get married. We still want to be together. By you being grown, you can defy your parents. You can just say, we're going to do what we want to do anyway. And that's usually how lessons are learned. And that's also usually how parents will usually just say, you like it, I love it. If you're going to marry them and sometimes when it does not end the correct way, I told you, well, why you couldn't tell me then? Sometimes it is okay to voice your opinion, and it's just your opinion. Sometimes that does sit in the back of our head, or some people say, well, they got to learn on their own. I think I said that already, but it's okay not to like somebody. If especially like girlfriends, and you'd be like, girl, she with him. I don't know what she with him for, because we don't like him anyway. We all see certain things because when we have on our rose-colored glasses and we're all in love, there's certain quote unquote, we talked about this too, red flags that we miss, that we don't see. And sometimes if it is a red flag, it's not flagged enough where you need to make a decision to leave whoever you're marrying or whoever you're with. Sometimes you just ride it out. Sometimes you just say, okay, this is what we gonna do, or and a lot of our girlfriends will always say, oh, she just jealous. Sometimes it could be jealousy, sometimes not. But it can also be us seeing something that, of course, you don't see because you're in love. Love puts the blinders on. Kelly says, Jay always tells me what is wrong with the person our daughter dates, and he won't tell her. You know what? Because, sometimes you don't want to be wrong, or you just have to let them trust their gut. And then you realize, what are they attracting? And that can be part of, y'all funny. That can be part of the, lesser of two evils. Let me say that, because sometimes us women, he's nice. We'll give the, what we'll call it, pity dates. You go out on a date, you say, okay, blah, blah, blah. It just didn't work out. Then sometimes, if he is the one, you just don't see, or we don't see what our child or friend sees. So we're like, girl, I see some red flags for you. Then sometimes, like I said, in most cases, it works out. Everybody just say, oh, he's right for you. And then he's not, it can go both ways. Let me say that. It can go both ways. But I do know that, when we're speaking of our favorite, character here on Conversations with Cookie B, the marriage is going to take place on the 18th, this Saturday. And I hate that I won't be able to be there because I'll be out of town, and this is something we had planned some months ago. But I cannot wait to see the pictures. I cannot wait to see what happens in 5 years. I cannot wait to see and I just, the stories, the journeys, because I believe that this is evolution. I believe that eventually he will, as long as I'm doing this, he'll come on the show and say, people said this, people said that, or we thought about this and we thought about that, but yet we still, him being 65, she being 31, her having a younger child, the dynamics of their relationship. I'm interested in seeing how that all evolves. And I'm excited. I'm here for it. Okay. Now, let me also tell y'all for the second half of the show, and we can talk about this all day long. What can be said to someone that can be very disrespectful? It can be numerous things that can be said. So let me tell you about my experience this weekend. Jay says, and no, there was no walking down the aisle. They just didn't show up to the courthouse. You're right. Now, this past weekend, I am known to talk shit just like anybody else. Laughingly, jokingly, never is my shit talking malicious at all. And I had an encounter this weekend where, I spoke to a bunch of men who were sitting somewhere in the back, in the space. And one of them decided to say something that I felt was a little disrespectful in regards to my cookies. I'll put it like that. So, I usually have my saying, hey, I got that cake. What you need? I got that cake. So I went, hey, y'all, because normally I go over and speak to, usually, hey there, I speak to people in the room and blah, blah, blah. And he decided to yell out loud, hey, Miss Parker. And they call me Miss Parker from Fridays. And I always say, hey, boys, cracking jokes. And he said, let us see them cookies. Now, I didn't have any cakes with me. I don't know what cookie he wanted to see, but it took a lot. And I know God ain't through with me yet. It took a lot out of me to not say something slick back. The only thing I did was say, oh, okay. And I proceeded to just walk out of the room and go to the other side of the building. Sometimes, what'd you say? God ain't through with me yet. My daughter said, God ain't through with me. Yeah, he's not through with me yet because it took everything out of me to not say something slick. It took everything out of me to not curse and say, who the fuck you talking to? It took everything out of me because based on how this person is, to excuse their behavior. I know, and I think we talked about this. Alcohol can give you liquid courage. It can. But please also don't let it get you a liquid ass whooping. I was taken aback. And like I said, I laugh and joke and blah, blah, blah. But this was, strike 2 with this person. It's not going to be a strike 3. There's not. It's not going to be a strike 3. Not going to be a strike 3. But I can also tell you that it's only so much behavior I'm going to dismiss at my age. And knowing how old that person is, you shouldn't be saying shit like that, period. At all. At all. At all. Hey, cousin Tony. Hey, Coco. Isn't the same. It isn't the same guy, is it? Well, you know what? I don't know if I told you about the first incident that he and I had. But no, it's not the same guy because the first incident was somebody else. No, I know what you're talking about now. No, D-Lo, it's not the same guy. This is a different guy. This is somebody else. We cool, but you should have replied, let me see them dry nuts. Let me say this, Toya. Let me say this. It took everything out of me not to respond because normally I would, I'm quick with it. I went right back to say something. I was waiting, but I promise you, I can honestly say that angels were on my shoulder because I just said, I looked and I said, I'm going to go on back to the other side. That's all I said because I know that in my strongest being, I knew that my silence was enough. I knew that my silence was enough. I think it would have bothered him more than it bothered me because I've learned to let go and let God. That was a truly let go and let God moment where I had to just say, really, motherfucker? Like yes, D-Lo, thank you. Silence is very powerful. Very powerful. Now, mind you, since the incident happened, I have seen him. Hey, how you doing? We have spoken because I'm not too blessed to be stressed. I was not going to keep bringing it up, but I'm going to let you know the next time you won't be so lucky. Jay says, go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Man, it took a lot of me. Yes, silence speaks louder than words. Hey, Tracy. Hey, Tilly. No. It was. I needed to be quiet. I really did. And I must say I'm grateful for that moment. I had a come to Jesus moment because I know from certain things that are spoken to or spoken about me, that, oh yeah, she got a smart mouth, she loud, she cuss. Those things I'm not going to change because that is a part of me, but things could have went so left. But I kept my cool, and I said to myself that I will remain a lady at all fucking times. That's what I'll say. Good morning, sir. Can I? Good night. My grandson that came up here, he's supposed to be downstairs. Toya says, silence is powerful, yet sometimes you have to use that extra sarcasm. It took a lot out of me. It took a lot out of me. I promise you it did. It took a lot out of me to just not respond. But I'm very proud of myself. So I gave myself a round of applause when I sat back in my seat and I said, oh, girl, you did good. You did real good. You did real good. Because the next time I'm probably going to grab his shirt and say, who the fuck you talking to? In front of everybody. To let him know that you didn't play with me one time too many. You know. But I digress. Now, I'm so grateful that everybody is in here for Conversations with Cookie B today. Because we are talking about various topics today. Because I received a video, as I told you guys, where Calvin sent me of him and his bride-to-be, and they were having a good time. We all know that they're getting married July 18th. I was waiting on Sebastian to come on in here. I totally agree. Silence is powerful sometimes, but you're right. You're right. But I was good. I was good. But I was waiting on Sebastian to come in because I wanted Sebastian, and he may be working, doing what he needs to do. Because we want to talk about his dating over 60 and the woman that he found now. And I wanted him to talk about it, but you know, it doesn't look like he was trying to chime in earlier. He said he was going to chime in so that he could talk about it. Get a fly swatter and hit him in his head. I may need to do that. I may need to do that. But I want to also tell you, I had the pleasure. Sebastian, there you go. I'm waiting on you to come in. I'm waiting on you to come in because Sebastian's going to share a little bit of his love story with us. I also want to tell you guys that I had the pleasure of meeting the coach of the assistant coach of the New York Giants. No, the New York Knicks. This past weekend, the basketball court coach. It was really, really nice. You know, he's really, really tall. I know my girl Trina was like, oh, friend, he tall. I say, oh, friend, girl, he married. No, didn't help me at all. Didn't help me at all. But it was funny. It was funny. Sebastian. Okay, Sebastian, I'm sending you the invite. So you can come on and tell us about you and your new love. Sebastian said, I ain't talking, not her, but I'll tell you about Pay. But who is Pay? Oh, you're not talking about her, but I'll tell you about Pay. Okay, come on here. Tell me about Pay. Okay, Sebastian, tell me about Pay.
I'll tell you about dating after after 60.
Dating over 60, yes.
Yeah, but it's like sometime you guys can be difficult
Okay.
because it's like a lot of times uh, they want more than what you're willing to give at the time. Like I told them before, I was married for a long time, and I'm like damaged goods. So I gotta find the right person.
Now wait, Sebastian. Hold on a minute. Fly swatter or
Hmm.
spatula hell just to the whole cookie sheet. Y'all funny. You right, Godiva. So when you say like we're not damaged, but at the age that we're at right now, we've been through a
Hmm.
lot. We've been through a lot. So when you say damaged goods, I want you to elaborate a little bit more on that, especially when it comes to the women that you've been encountering. When you say damaged goods, damaged with like what?
Not trusting anybody anymore. It took a lot for me to trust, but it's just like because people always you always get that representative first, and they're always showing you one side of them. But then it's like, you know, once they feel comfortable, then they show that other side.
Hmm.
Hey, they got a goal.
Okay. Now I know
Um,
that I was telling them how you have now started. You don't have to tell me the depths of you and her relationship, but how is, like you said, you were at a point earlier when I started my broadcasting conversation with Cookie B. You were at a point where you weren't really dating anyone and blah blah blah. But now you're dating someone consistently, just one person. And so I wanted you to talk more about that because like you said, it can be difficult, but